Okay, guys. I'm really sorry for just missing the time slot. If you were waiting for like 4 p.m., which probably you weren't, right? But still. So okay. Yeah, definitely. So the topic of my presentation is zero knowledge proofs on Mina, zkPassport, and Soulbound NFTs. So you're probably if you're here, you probably want to know more about Mina, because they have numerous grant programs, right? Or you're curious about zkPassport or how the infrastructure is going to influence Ethereum, right? Or just blockchain in general. So just I'm not really sure if you can see the slides from the back, but mm, so this slide is actually presenting me, right? And I've got around like 20 million R votes delegated into elections on Snapshot for procurement committee and DAO advocate for Arbitrum. I've built a blockchain data science block, which got around like 500,000 impressions on Google, and we got bounties from numerous blockchain organizations, including like Uniswap and Reflexer, which is a stablecoin on Ethereum. So what keeps bothering me, for example, about Ethereum is that when you actually search for data on Ethereum, or like what you're gonna do on Ethereum, all you see is the total value locked. And like this data, I think is from um, DeFi Llama, right? It's also like this is the first graph that you see that. Okay, so I keep complaining that the first thing you see when you actually browse statistics for Ethereum is the total value locked, right? This is from L2Bit, this is from DeFi Llama, and this is from Etherscan. Again, the only information you actually get is that what's the price of Ethereum, what's the total value locked, what's the market cap. That's it. And not much else really going on the dashboards for people that want to join Ethereum or just want to contribute in general. So I think this also kept bothering like a lot of people, including like Vitalik, right? So he created he was one of the authors of Soulbound NFTs paper or like academic something. I'm not really sure how to name it because it's not really published by university, right? But it's more of open source academic work, right? And I think the key example of this soulbound NFT ideology or implementation is POAP. Okay, so Mina, from my understanding, I've not really like checked with anybody because there's not much really like people that I can actually communicate on this topic, right? And okay, so Mina seems to be the world's first zk blockchain with actual smart contracts on mainnet. And the mainnet is happening within like 2 days, I think, maybe like tomorrow. I'm not really sure. Um, because, for example, something like AdStack or Scroll is actually just an extension of Ethereum, right? And Mina is actually a blockchain fully built with zk, and it has only a fixed size of 22 kilobytes. Um, yep, and that's the selling point. That's how the transactions and yeah, that's just how the transactions take place in the Mina universe. And I think the key aspect here is that you have block producers that make snarks, and then you have snarkers that actually like verify the snarks, right? It's very interesting. It's very, very interesting dynamic. Okay. It's very, very interesting dynamic, but I think the key point you need to know is that block producers get rewards from Mina token, and snarkers get rewards from block producers. So this is how Mina envisions itself within the ecosystem, just being, for example, an API, like connect with, for example, with JavaScript in the browser, right? Just connecting to something and verifying something. Another example of like a more abstract example of what is possible on Mina is zkPassport. And zkPassport falls into category of KYC identity systems. Yeah. So I'm just trying to figure out what is the actual point of view of this. But from my understanding, the point here is that in the Web2 world, right, we have the KYC system. So, for example, when I got a grant from Optimism, right, I had to submit my KYC, and I could not use my like the passport of a country where I was born. I had to use an identity from a country that actually um, qualifies under this circumstances, and nobody really sure like how it works. Nobody's really sure what identity documents um, could be trusted, right? And one of these documents that, for example, Optimism accepted was driving license. Another one was something related to a banking statement, and another one was like a temporary permanent residency. But there's so many types of these things, right? That you need to, from a perspective of like a blockchain organization, you need to have a huge budget to be sure that your processes are actually sustainable and that you're not going to be sued and just lose your business over like a small typo or something like that, right? So the use cases in general from the request for proposals in this case on Mina was like proof of nationality and proof of uniqueness, and these are the like the from the perspective of this RFP are the purposes of your documents, right? Is that you're unique and that you're like probably like from my perspective that should have been like at really okay. So and like why I don't like passports in general is that like even on border control people don't really know what they're checking, and the data from the from the agency that is actually responsible for checking your documents for training for training people to work at the border control, right? They've published this data that like they cannot really identify like a fraud from non-fraud passports, right? So the chance was like 66%, right, that they're going to be actually positive. They're 100% sure, right? So in general, what's happening, I think, on the borders is that they just have like a strict set of rules, right? Where if you have like a passport from this standard, you're going through, right? And if you're not, then you're going to have a huge amount of things that you need to answer. You need to know, and that's really like a game theory, right? In general, it's not really proving anything. It's more of well, that's not my responsibility. So That was also what I've replied in the ETH research forum on zkPassport, right? That not many apps actually work, right? The key app for reading your passport on Android actually has to like you have to open your passport, right, to read first. You have to read like the data from the from the machine readable interface, and then it could actually like verify that's real passport. But there's not much security to it. It's more of an obfuscated system. Here's like a link to the Soulbound NFTs implementation on Mina. It's probably a bit outdated and you cannot probably see the functions, but like we have the private methods, we have public methods, we have events, we have states, and there are only like 8 states available per smart contracts, but you can store things off chain, you can verify it on Mina, and the verification in smart contracts is gasless. So moving on to the zk Oracle, which is another great RFP from Mina, which zk on got accepted, right? And they have a huge variety of resources on zk Oracles and how they are going to implement this. So they send me these graphs, right? So I'm not really sure if you're really curious to delve into like the math of it, right? Probably not. But how it works is that you have like a setup, then you have zk oracles, which don't really have an access to the initial setup, and like effectively you get the data from these two oracles that don't really have an access to the full privacy aspect of like let's say like a private key, right? And you have the data of chain. So yep, there's obviously a lot more things on the comment section of the slides. Yep, and that's really yep. That's like another explanation of what happens with the zk oracle. That's even longer explanation of it. And I guess that's it. But if you're curious to learn more about the zk oracles, I have like the slides. Right. So you're more than welcome to just follow the link and look at the data.
Let's give it up for Pavel. We have some time left for questions in case there are any. So if you do have a question, feel free to raise your hand and I'll drop a mic to you. Yes.
You described several applications and use cases, and most of them focused on Mina. I'm not so familiar with Mina. Can you explain, are these applications a specifically good example for something that goes on Mina, or these could potentially work on other zk-related chains?
Yep. So I think from like I could answer this question from like multiple perspectives, right? But I think you're more interested in just the applicability of the ideas, right? So there is an implementation of zkPassport on Ethereum, right? It takes a lot more gas and it will take a lot more resources, right? Mina is probably one of the like the cheapest from my perspective, right? To just like especially to verify, it's like it's free, right? zk Oracle is I think there are like multiple organizations got a grant, so you're probably going to get a lot of different versions of the zk Oracle implementation, and something is is definitely going to be like if you're developing, right? If you're a developer, you're probably going to stick to one of them, like in the end, right? And like hopefully these solutions will be like would have use cases for different sets of things, right? Right. And so the zk Oracle that like I've just shown the graphs for, it has like a huge huge amount of information, of data, of how it works underneath. Like you can like go over the article. The team is like very responsive, but I'm just like I'm not really sure people know what like MPC. I have no idea like really what this is. I have an understanding of how it works abstractly, right? And what they've implemented is that they've implemented like collaborative proofs. So like it's computed by multiple oracles, right? And the setup like attestation, which they like really briefly take on the article. It has like more than 3 nodes, I think, something like that.
Does that answer your question? Good job answering the question. Is there any more questions in the audience? Yes. Oh. Oh, sorry.
I wonder that the capacity of the current Mina zk application library, do you think that any limitation of or restriction of the current of the current Mina library to develop zk apps? That's if you have an idea to of a zk application and would like to implement the Mina, but found that the library is not strong enough to support it. So have you experienced that?
Yep. So I've noticed, for example, right? So I've built like a smart contract on Mina in their latest like builder program, right? And they had like await methods. They've added await methods within the smart contract. So I think it's like it's a bit buggy right now, and people like zk on right companies that like zk on are using instead of the smart contract, they're using like a circuit program that you can compile and host it on your server, right? This smart contract, it's more of like it works. It's just like it's not perfect, and that's what you're trying to get, right? Like what could be improved? What could be improved is that like there is only in the past versions of the Mina of like of this something like library, right? Is that you could actually just like query one method like change the state once per block, let's say, right? And with like await methods, they're probably going to shift it like to improve the throughput of the smart contract. And the data structure that is like available on right now is just like a Merkle tree. So you have to host a Merkle tree, like what I've done, host a Merkle tree of chain, and then just verify it within the methods that the data got updated correctly, or that the user has an access to these sets of like leaves, right, or something like that. And because of the rush to the mainnet, because of the rapid development, like they've in the latest versions, they've actually shifted towards this like high throughput smart contracts, and a lot of things broke, and they're trying to fix like the signatures. There are just like a lot of things. So if people are going to continue developing on Mina, they probably have to stick to circuit programs, or just like be prepared to ask on Discords developers and just move incrementally, because this is probably the most innovative zk blockchain, right? Because again, other blockchains are just using Ethereum.
Still a lot of the limitations and space to improve.
Yeah, like let's say the states, there are like only 8 states per smart contract. Yeah, like the Merkle tree could be updated to like Merkle tree, let's say, right? And yeah, Yeah, the speed of the computations, like verification, right? That kind of thing. But the key difficulty from my perspective is that the system is written in OCaml.
Does that answer your question? And we have time for one more question from the audience. If not, we can wrap it up. Let's wrap it up. Please give it up for Pavel.